Welcome to Session 2. When Lisa and I were developing the framework to support learning in museum and library makerspaces, one thing we learned from all of our site visits is that there's no one way to do a makerspace. The program variation tool is intended to surface some of the tensions that exist in the design and implementation of a makerspace. Within the tool, there are a series of spectra that identify these tensions. These spectra hold no value. It's neither right nor wrong what side you're on, but they're simply meant to facilitate a discussion and enable a team to develop a common language around the expectation and design of a makerspace.
The way you use the program variation tool is with a team of colleagues. These colleagues can be from your organization as well as from across organizations. A first step in using the tool is to really determine what is your area that you want to focus on through the use of the tool. For example, if you're just starting to plan for your makerspace or maker program, you might want to consider it as a whole. If you've been at it for a while, you may want to think about one program area or one activity that you want to focus on. As Peter mentioned, the program variation tool represents a series of tensions or areas of decision that are often made when planning for or designing a makerspace. For example, a common area of tension or decision that has to be made is between closed-ended or open-ended activities. Now, it's never one or the other, it's often somewhere in between. So the program variation tool invites you to put a mark, whether it be an X or a circle or a box or a dot, on the point along that line of between closed and open-ended activities where you think your makerspace or maker program or activity rests. So the idea would be that you would go through all of these different spectra that are on the tool individually and think for yourself, where do I think our program or space or activity falls along this identified spectra? So after you've put your own dot or X or mark on the spectra, it's important to share your ideas or your thoughts about where you are on that spectra or spectrum with a colleague. Oftentimes, you and your colleague will have different ideas or understandings or expectations of where your makerspace or maker program might fall on those different spectra.
There are a few ways you can extend this activity. In workshops, we've put spectra on large flip chart papers and had participants use circles to mark where they are within a particular spectrum. It enables you to see large patterns that exist across lots of different people. If you have a particularly large team, that might be a way to show patterns of perceptions across team members. In addition, you might notice that there are certain relationships or interdependencies that exist between different spectra. So another way that we've taken this a little farther is to create 2x2s where you think of one spectrum on an x-axis and another on a y-axis. So for example, your x-axis might be product focused versus process focused, and your y-axis might be open-ended versus closed-ended. And you might see interesting relationships between the way people perceive one and the other and how they're related. Finally, we certainly don't suggest that we've captured all of the significant tensions that might matter to your makerspace. And so we encourage you also to identify new spectra that might capture those important tensions. Once you've identified those, we encourage you to share those with us and with others, as well as maybe some interesting questions that came up during your discussion. For example, where did you have the most disagreements? We encourage you to share those on the forum as a way for all of us to learn from how we're engaging with this work.